Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we're super happy to have you here. And if you've been listening and enjoying for a while, I would be super grateful if you would please take a moment to give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It's one of the best and simplest ways to pay it forward and help others find the show so that they too can tap into the powerful perspectives and positive vibrations we are collectively emanating. The other unique and magical way to share this show is by sending any friends you think would benefit from listening to this podcast our Game with the Universe link at positivehead.com/game. Also listed in the show notes, which will serve them up a quote-unquote random episode when they click it. Just instruct them before clicking the link to close their eyes for a moment and sincerely ask the universe to cue up the episode that contains the insight and perspectives that they most need to hear at this point in their life journey, and then click to listen to whatever episode is synchronistically served up to them. I have heard time and time again from people about the incredible results they received playing the game. So just tell your friends magical results are guaranteed or their karma back. All right, all you positive heads, welcome, welcome. Here we grow again. So blessed to be with you as always. It is a terrific Tuesday here in the studio as I record. And today I want to talk a little bit, and in between a bit about inspired action versus required action and sort of the difference between these two approaches to taking action. Before I do, I would like to take a moment to read a review on iTunes. Haven't done that in a minute. And you guys know I love my iTunes reviews. Not only do they help us to reach new people, but certainly help to fuel my fire to continue this labor of love. So if you haven't taken the time to review on iTunes, would certainly appreciate it if you did. And this one came in by Carla on Earth. And Carla said, authentic sanity-saving positivity. I've saved writing this review for almost 6 months, but I'm compelled to share just how amazingly profound this podcast is. To be honest, I didn't take listening to the podcast seriously despite all the rave reviews from friends because I figured that this podcast wouldn't offer anything new for someone already familiar with chakras, meditation, plant medicines, and shadow work. Boy, was I in for a plethora of surprises. I've had to check my ego so many times. I've cried with joy so many times. I've laughed at how I could relate so many times. This podcast is about more than being exposed to new ideas. This is a reminder to be a beacon of love, to live in the highest vibe state that you can without spiritual bypassing. They talk about real-ish on the show in a loving manner that makes it really accessible to anyone listening. Oh, Carla, thank you so much for taking the time to review. This may be my friend Carla. I'm not sure, in the Positive Heads Facebook group, which, by the way, if you're not in the Positive Heads Facebook group, get in there. We definitely like to see your bright and shiny face. But whichever Carla this is, I appreciate you so much for taking the time to review. That was a wonderful, wonderful review and insight, and certainly makes me feel good about what we're doing here. And I love having any impact on any of your lives in any way. You're certainly having a big impact on mine. And so it's just this beautiful reciprocation that's happening. And it feels really good. And speaking of reciprocation and us impacting each other's lives, next week I should have details. Most likely next week, I'll have details on the Mystic Manor retreats that we're going to be offering beginning in June, where you get to come stay at my new property that I'm going to be living out of with all the other amazing people in my life that are helping to put together the new show, Optimistic. That is, super, super exciting. inspired action for me to take and a leap of faith to take. I mean, there's a big difference between producing a show with, me and my microphone and an actual show with a live audience and guests coming in, staying at a retreat who are then a part of the show. And then the SoulShare guests that are actually there physically, which is why it's going to be in Venice Beach right near LAX, about 10 minutes from LAX. So, some of the amazing people I'd like to have there on the show can fly in and out really easily since it's a major hub, right? But it's definitely a leap for me, signing a two-year lease to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's not, and one thing about Venice is it's definitely a hub of consciousness on the planet. It's also very expensive because it's they call it Silicon Beach as well because a lot of the tech companies like Snapchat and stuff are there. And so, you have all this transformation and consciousness related stuff happening. Also, the tech industry is there, just being like the main beach outside of LA. It's just super pricey, but super worth it because what is money? It's energy, right? It's just it's just another form of energy, and we can manifest as much as we need to accomplish what we want to accomplish in the world. So a big part of that leap of faith is going to be you guys coming and staying at the retreat, and we're going to put something together that guaranteed, or your karma back, you're going to have a transformational experience and spending and living, for a week in the house with me. So there will be an opportunity for either 72 or 74 of you to do that over the course of June to June. So I'll be coming out with all the pricing details and things like that. Like I said, should be next week. And there's going to be a lot of ways for people to participate and support and to bring this dream of mine to reality that's been manifesting for a long time. And the opportunity to co-create it with you all is so exciting for me. And to get to meet a lot of you face to face and spend that quality time connecting with you is and then you get to be a part of the show, and you sort of get to be the representative each week on the filming, of the rest of the listeners. And it's going to be so beautiful and epic. And in the meantime, like I said, details coming very, very soon. In the meantime, you can drop an email to brandon@positivehead.com if you haven't done so already, and let me know that you are interested in the details, and I'll make sure and send you everything. You'll hear me talk about it on the show, but also send it all, via email, broken down. I'm going to shoot a little video, I think, to explain some of it. And so drop me an email. Let me know. I'll put you on the list of interested folks. And all right, let's see here. Oh, before I jump into today's topic, quick synchronicity story for you guys. So the last few days, I've really been focusing on drinking more water, and I've been doing some research on getting, really clearing my skin and trying to figure out sort of some of the issues that I've had surrounding like a little bit of like redness around like under my eyes. And one of the things is a big thing is drinking lots of water, right? So I'm like, okay, I want to, I'm going to drink lots of water. I woke up this morning, I drank all this water. And then first thing when I sit at my computer, switching from drinking coffee in the morning too, that's another thing, to drinking matcha green tea instead. And so had all this water. I sit down at the computer, turn it on, and the first post in the Positive Heads Facebook group is from Nick Ackley, and he had drink, and had like a little water emoji, and it's a hummingbird and bumblebees all drinking. And I was like, oh, how perfect. Then Marsha wrote that she had just had a dream with bees and hummingbirds last night. So pretty cool little just energetic tie-in. Thought I would share. I love to share, the synchronicity stories as they develop in real time. Pretty much almost every episode, there's something, right? Most of them. But let's see how synchronistic this particular episode is, because, of course, these episode ideas just sort of flow to me. Maybe I'll happen to choose a random video that I love and then just sort of riff on that. And today that's what happened. Something jumped out at me, an Abraham clip, and talking about inspired action versus required action. And I've actually been thinking, of course, this has been something that's been coming up for me in the last few days, especially, and really tuning in to when I'm feeling, where is my energy? When am I feeling off? Am I feeling fear? Or, in the case of, like, for example, the new show, there's so much to do with it, and I already have a lot to do. And I've had moments of, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming. Oh my gosh, it's going to take a lot, and then just actually tuning into myself when I get into those moments of like overwhelm or fear or just sort of a slightly negative bent on whatever I'm thinking about or feeling, and noticing those instead of just going with it, really catching it, noticing it. And what I found is really, really helpful. You guys have heard me talk about, of course, meditation a lot, and how the power of meditation, and it's sort of like the number one thing that I think any of us can do and work into our lives as part of our spiritual practice. The thing with a lot of you out there are probably like me, where, your brains really go a million miles a minute. And so meditation you view as challenging. I know a lot of people have that. And what I found, because my brain is so active, and not that I can't ever get into that quiet state, but I imagine for some of you, it's probably easier than myself or others, right? Different personality types, can, have different sort of natural inclinations towards things. And for me, my brain is so active. What I found that's super powerful, first off, your meditation is a success just setting out to do it. Right? Just setting with the intention to sit and be with yourself and to ground down, and to ground. If you're having energies that are out of whack or not sort of in the vibrational field that you want them to be in, you're not resonating, your vibration doesn't feel particularly elevated, sitting with yourself, deep breathing, just being with yourself is sending such a powerful message about your ability to ground down and tune in and just do your best to sort of quiet your mind. Or in my case, what I found to be really powerful is to start visualizing, drumming up what it would feel like for the things that I want to manifest. And I find this to be a really fun exercise. It's like, it feels really good. It feels like it's happening to you. And so my challenge is to those of you who consider meditation difficult, approach it from the perspective of visualization instead. Like, okay, maybe I'm instead of sitting here and just trying to clear my thoughts, I'm going to get into a calm state for a few minutes, then start drumming up visualizations, feelings of what it would be like, using your imagination to play with, the vibrational pools that you want to play in. So that's something that I just really want to drive home to all of you. Like, it doesn't have to, there is no right or wrong way to meditate, right? And visualization is just, for those of you who have a lot of energy, start using that tool, right? If you see especially when you're in a really good place, then you can sort of parlay that into powerful visualizations. Maybe you're feeling off, and so you're not really, they say, and Abraham even talks about this, if you get into the state and then do your visualizations, get into that calm, cool, collected state. If you're off energetically, maybe what you're doing is just sitting with yourself and just breathing and accepting what's happening. Accepting like, this out of alignment feeling that I'm having is actually perfect in itself, and it's a part of my journey. Instead of resisting it, I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to do my best to sort of neutralize it and reach for a slightly better thought, right? A slightly more, maybe I had a fearful thought about finances, right? Okay, well, let me reach for a thought that feels a little bit better about finances. What if it went this way? What if it went that way, right? And so you can just start playing with reaching for a better thought. And next thing you know, you're now sort of coming out of that darker place. You're elevating your vibration. Then you get to a point where you're somewhat neutral. Then from that jumping off point. Start playing with visualization, right? And so if you ever will, if you're not taking the time to just be with yourself each day, to play around with these ideas of meditation, contemplation, clearing the mind, visualizing with the mind, grounding your energy if you're feeling off, if you're not playing with those ideas and making that a part of your daily practice in some way, do. It is so key. As we continue to ascend, you're going to be releasing all kinds of things and blockages. Speaking of drinking lots of water and actually really cleaning up my diet is a part of it too, as I've been doing research about, sort of some of the symptoms of sort of getting red patchiness and stuff like that on my face. It's doing the research on it. It's what's happening is your body has so many toxins. It's from things you're bringing into your system. For some people, this is how it will release. Different ways, different bodies do things differently, and so it's sort of releasing these toxins in this case in a not most ideal place, right? But it gets my attention and it gets me to pay attention to, and what have I been doing as a result? Drinking lots more water, cleaning up my diet, just getting, it's sort of this ebb and flow. I've had times where I've been vegan, and then I've had times really in recent months where my diet's been kind of the worst it's been in years. Now I'm clean, this is causing me to clean it back up, and so it's an ebb and flow. It's 2 steps forwards, 1 step back. Your journey is a spiral, right? You're going to circle back on things you thought you clarified for further clarification. And as we all ascend vibrationally, what's going to happen is you're going to be getting those energetic toxins out of your system, right? So same type of thing. When you start going, I'll keep comparing it to this, the types of cleanses people have done to clear up, rosacea or eczema or, whatever it can be, dermatitis, I think it's called, different, where your skin is drying, or getting patchy. It's one of the things that people do is hardcore detoxes. And at first it will get way worse because it's all that stuff's able to come out because of the detox, right? Your body is unloading these things it's been holding. Well, the same thing's happening with each of us energetically as we continue to advance and continue to ascend. So it's not surprising to me that as I step into this next level, show, which is a much bigger undertaking, energetically, financially, otherwise, it doesn't surprise me that I have moments of pangs of what if I, enough people don't want to do the retreat, and, what if, this falls through? What if, it's a lot to do on your own without a big studio backing you, right? So when those things come up for me, I'm just looking at them and going, oh, okay, this is actually, I've been here before. I've noticed I've had these kinds of pangs of fear and projects in the past, and I can see the spiral, the cycle coming back around. So now instead of just falling into it, spending time with myself to process it and own it and accept it and love it. In this clip I'm about to share, Abraham talks about if you had every master that was ever been, Jesus, Buddha, any of them, right? All the ones you don't know, if you had them right in front of you, they would all tell you they wouldn't give up one miserable moment to take the journey and the ride that they took to get where they are now, right? So these clearing of these energetic blockages, they're going to be a part of your path. And so accepting those is such a huge part. And then having some sort of a process to deal with them, sitting and being with yourself and just grounding your energy and deep breathing. If you're getting to a good neutral place, start visualizing the things you do want to see more of. Every time I visualize, I see such powerful results, incredibly powerful results. It's great. I'll give you guys a quick example and then we'll play this video. So last week, with my travel company, we had 3 days of an unprecedented lack of sales. It was what's going on? Everything just went away, because we have, salespeople and, a lot of different components to the business. And it was just what happened? What everything just dried up in a weird way. It didn't make sense. The fourth day, I spent a few minutes visualizing, got into the state where I was really feeling what it would like for it to kind of bounce back and turn back around. That day ended up being like the highest sales day ever. So it's, I've noticed the results are absolutely fascinating. And it's like, you know, when I do this, I'm like, how am I not making more time to do this for myself? This is madness, right? So make time for yourself, to be with yourself, to meditate, to visualize. It's okay that you're going to feel those blockages circle back around. You're going to notice old patterns circling back around, that they're there for a further chance of clarification and for you to get it right this time and to work through it, not in a way that's resisting what's happening, but by accepting is how you move through it. All right, so I have a clip here for you. This is a really good one. It's Abraham-Hicks. I found it on the Infinite Intelligence YouTube page. It's titled, "You Don't Need a Job to Get the Money." Which is a very small part of what's being talked about here. But yeah, this is just a super powerful clip that I thoroughly enjoyed. Take a listen.
I am beginning to break out of a limbo, that limbo being no longer finding creating through action to be attractive, and yet not quite believing in the process of thought to create.
Before you go further, we want to insert something, and that is, we are never at all trying to talk you out of action. But if you tend to your grid deliberately first, then the inspired action is just so satisfying. Action that comes from a vibrational equivalency is action that is life-giving and fun and uplifting to those who are witnessing it. Action that is offered in an effort to fill in the grid isn't.
Okay.
So action is a wonderful thing, provided you've tended to the grid first.
Right. I meant like more banging it outside of action.
Well,
like that doesn't...
No value in that.
That's how I live my life mostly, but...
Sometimes you gotta. Sometimes you are where you are. You are where you are, and sometimes the action is required. And sometimes you gotta act even before you get your grid where you want it. But just know that you're acting before you've got your grid where you want it, so that the results that you're getting make sense to you. And then when you come out of the fog, do the work that matters, and it will get better and better and better for you.
Okay. All right. So in order to try to tip that belief from I have to do action versus the power of thought, I've been practicing...
Give us an example where you have to do an action and you don't have time to clean up your grid first.
I don't want to get a job. I want money to flow in without any action. I want to be extremely wealthy.
Do you have plenty of money to carry you for a while?
I did.
Do you have plenty of money to carry you for a while?
Not plenty.
So you don't have a lot of leeway in this. So how long do you think it's
Yeah, but I've been working on this for so long.
Well, you're clearly not doing it the right way. That was the next question that we were going to ask you. How long do you think it would take you to bring the vibration of your grid up to the level of your vortex? How much time are we talking about?
Not long, but I have...
How about 10 minutes of concentration to bring yourself into vibrational alignment with your vortex?
Yes, I could do that.
So our question to you is, do you need to get a job in the next 10 minutes?
No.
So you've got time then. You've
Unless
got
you
time.
want to hire me.
You've
Sorry,
got...
go ahead.
Where you are now, you're not employable.
Okay. Wow. I really asked for it. Okay, I got it. Okay, thanks.
You're not a vibrational match to what we're looking for.
Okay.
We're looking for someone tuned in, tapped in, turned on.
Okay.
Someone who has done the grid work. So it's going to take at least 10 minutes before you're hireable.
Okay.
Before the grid begins to fill in. So do you accept that it is as simple as bringing your grid, the vibration of where you stand right now, up to speed with your vortex? Do you understand that it is that simple?
I've experienced that emotionally, but I still think that feeling good isn't enough. You know?
We have enjoyed this interaction immensely.
Really? Are you gonna? Oh,
not really, but we just want to get your attention. Because
do it.
Until you accept that premise, you've got nowhere to go. Until you accept that is a vibrational work that you've got to do, period. You do the vibrational work, and every single desire that you have will start filling in fast. You don't do the vibrational work. You keep repeating the patterns that you've got going. Nothing can change in your experience. You've got to change the vibrational frequency. So we'll ask you some questions that will make that easier for you. Do you accept that you are a vibrational being?
Yes.
Do you believe that law of attraction is responding to your vibration?
Yes.
Do you think that you have some measure of control over the vibration that you're offering?
Yes.
Do you think that you've got some beliefs that are hindering?
Yes.
Do you think you've got some beliefs that are helping?
Yes.
Do you think you have the ability to emphasize the helpful ones
Yes.
while you diminish the unhelpful ones?
Yes.
Do you think that there is a way within you to feel the difference between what you're doing?
Yes.
Do you think your emotions let you know?
Yes.
So if you get on a train of thought that feels good to you, is it helpful?
It makes me feel good.
So we'll start again.
Okay.
Do you believe that you are a vibrational being?
Yes.
Do you believe that you live in a vibrational universe?
Yes.
Do you believe that law of attraction is responding to your vibration?
Yes.
Do you believe that your vibration equals your point of attraction?
Yes.
Do you believe that you have some measure of control over what your vibrational offering is?
Yes.
Do you believe that the thoughts that you think and the way you feel are connected?
Yes.
Do you believe that when you think a good feeling thought, that it means that you're offering a vibration that's more a vibrational match to what's in your vortex?
Yes.
Do you believe that you have the ability to think more thoughts that feel good?
Yes.
Do you believe that as you are thinking a thought that you can tell whether you're on a track of it helping or hindering?
Yes.
Do you believe that you have the ability to stop in the middle of your awareness of a hindering thought?
Yes.
Do you believe that with practice it will get easier?
Definitely.
Do you believe that by starting with the easiest of those thoughts is the best way to go about it?
Okay, I could do that. Yes.
Let's start again. Do you believe that you are a vibrational being?
Yes.
Do you believe that the universe is responding to your vibration?
Yes.
Do you believe that law of attraction is responding to the vibration that you're offering?
Yes.
Do you believe that you can tell by the way you feel whether you're offering a helpful vibration or a not helpful vibration?
Yes.
Do you believe that in the awareness that you're offering an unhelpful vibration, that you have the ability to at least stop in the offering of it and reach for something that feels a little better?
Yes.
Do you believe that you have the ability to discern a better feeling thought from a not very good
Yes.
thought? Do you believe that the more you do it, the more discerning you will be?
Yes.
Do you believe that the universe will respond to your better feeling thought with evidence?
Yes.
Do you believe that it's going to get easier and easier in order to
Yes.
do this? Do you believe that your grid, which equals your point of attraction, is everything and the only thing that is really important to you right here and now?
Yes.
Let's start again. Do you believe that you are a vibrational being? This is the way we would do the work. We would continue to start with the premises that we are certain about, and we would continue to move forward and ask the question in a way that we can finally say yes, yes, yes without any contradiction within us. In other words, we know that you don't think that you are quite ready to give this vibrational approach your undivided attention. And we understand that because in truth, it would be better if you would get a job to soothe your financial concerns. You would be less contradictory in your vibration if you were not worried about money.
Okay.
So if you could build a bridge that says, this is a temporary thing that I'm doing in order to hold myself in a place that I can keep my promises to my creditors and that I can satisfy myself with the things that I want, and that more and more a satisfying way for money to flow will come to me. Because if you stand in a place where you say, I want more money, but I'm unwilling to do the action things that I know that bring money, now it isn't the action or the non-action, it's the contradiction in the energy. I want this, but I'm not willing. But when you say, I want this and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to come into alignment to get what I want, there's a helpfulness in that willingness. But then you say, but I'm contradicting myself because, Abraham, you're teaching me that I can do this through the power of thought. And we tried to clear that up with you in the first moment that you said that. We're not teaching you that action is not part of it. We're teaching you that action isn't the most important part of it, that the alignment is, and that it's possible for you to come into alignment so that the action that is then required of you by the filling of the vortex into the grid is action that you will be really thrilled in the offering of. There isn't one of you who doesn't want to act. You do. You want to act. And there isn't one of you who wouldn't revel in inspired action over required action. They are very different actions. But if you don't take the time to do the grid work, the inspired action doesn't come. And when it's required action, you get burned out really, really fast.
Yes.
But when it's inspired action, then you can't stay up long enough, and you can't get up early enough, and you can't talk about it enough, you see. When it's inspired action, the whole of the universe is flowing with you into this poignant moment. Most humans do not allow themselves the feeling of standing in a moment in time, focused upon something that they care about, having cleaned up their vibration so that the energy that creates worlds is flowing through them in this moment, so that every intelligent consciousness that knows anything about what you're talking about or thinking about or engaging about is flowing with you and through you in that moment. That is co-creation at its best, you see. But you got to line up with that energy. And you got to know when you're not lined up with it, and know when you are lined up with it, and then just keep leaning toward the lined up with it until after a while it becomes really easy. You can tell the offness of something almost instantaneously. Okay. There are a couple of things that we want to ask of you. You were really good, by the way. Your answers were in keeping with the vibration. You were not saying one thing and meaning another. So we want to follow that trend just a little bit and ask a few more things of you. Do you believe that there is value in contrast?
Yes.
Do you believe that out of the contrast will come greater clarity?
Yes.
And that greater clarity is easily satisfied once you do the grid work?
Yes.
Now, the easily is the part that you were stumbling over just a little bit. Yeah. But do you believe now, does it feel easier to you now than it did just a little bit ago?
Yes.
Does it feel to you that you've come into resonance with understanding your own power?
Yes.
And can you relax a little bit as you stand in contrast right now without money flowing in the way that you want it to? Can you embrace that as a good thing, not a bad thing?
Yes.
Can you let this moment in time not feel like struggle, but feel like clarity?
Most of the time.
This moment in time.
Oh, yes.
This moment,
yes.
Because if this moment in time, with this contrasting experience, if you can stop beating up on yourself because you didn't get it right the first crack out of the box, if instead you can say, oh, this didn't go the way I wanted it to, but it's all right because I'm still standing here evaluating contrast. That's the peace that we're wanting you to find in this. So often, as you listen to us for a while, and you want to be deliberate creators, and you want to do the grid work, and you tried to get in the vortex, and you're trying to pay attention to the way you feel, and you're making an effort to be more the person that you want to be. And then when something that you thought you wanted doesn't turn out right now the way you wanted it to, then that second guessing starts happening. Then you start asking yourself, what did I do wrong? And if instead you can say, I didn't do anything wrong, this contrast is part of what's right. This contrast is part of the clarifying thing. It's part of the clarification that is helping me to identify more clearly what it is I do want. If we could just convince you that you want a creative plethora of opportunities to pull from. You don't want limited ones. And the contrast is just filling in the colors and the textures and the opportunities, you see. If we could zap you with something, and of course we can't, but we can know it so strongly that as you're willing to listen to us for a while, you'll begin to get it. You are in a really, really good place. You're asking really, really good questions. Your desire is really focused in a strong way. And this conversation that we've had, which was solely offered to soothe any angst you have about being in a wrong place, that's what every process that we've ever offered has always been about. To soothe your angst about any wrongness that you've done, because you're not doing anything wrong by standing in a place you don't want to stand in. When you're standing in a place you don't want to stand in, you're firing off rockets that are going to serve you. And if you can revel in the contrast and appreciate the variety, instead of condemning your lack of wisdom to be in a better place right here and right now, if we could parade before you just the masters that you have revered as a culture, every one of them would tell you, I wouldn't give up one miserable moment, because every one of them helped me become who I ultimately am.
Okay.
Good time for a segment of refreshment.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Before we continue on with today's episode, for those of you interested in getting more fantastic fungi in your life, I want to take a quick moment to tell you about a friend of mine's brand new company, The Great Mother. Recently, I have been drinking The Great Mother's superfood mushroom coffee alternative called Ritual, as well as regularly taking their awesome Ally microdoses, and I am truly loving both. As you probably know, these days, many of the world's highest achievers and performers swear by microdosing. The problem is it can still be difficult to get a hold of magic mushrooms. That's why when my friend reached out, who lives in an area and country where legalization is not a problem like it was in the past, and said he'd be willing to offer microdoses to my listeners, I wanted to pass the word along. Ally microdoses are 100% organic. And in addition to a small amount of the magic active ingredient, they also contain functional mushrooms like lion's mane, cordyceps, chaga, and other brain boosters like bacopa. Ally is essentially a full spectrum nootropic. And of course, the coffee alternative Ritual doesn't contain magic mushrooms, but it has an array of the best organic functional mushrooms in the world. And, with functional mushrooms, it's really important to get them from the highest integrity sources. And whereas some other highly popular mushroom coffee alternatives on the market only contain a few varieties of functional mushrooms in their actual ingredients, Ritual has 7. Not only does it contain more types, it also contains 3 to 4 times the amount that the big brands have in each serving. And it tastes amazing. I actually like to have it on its own, as well as mixing it into my coffee sometimes as well. However, since this is definitely a unique offering, there are a few steps. First, just reach out and request to follow the private page, thegreat.mother on Instagram. Once you've been accepted to follow, just message what you're interested in getting and someone will get back to you. Such a good share there from Abraham, and tending to your grid first, right? That's what we were talking about earlier. Put in the visualization work after the fog, right? That's, and I love how she gives the example with this guy, 10 minutes to bring your vortex to the point, to bring your vortex and your grid in alignment. What she's talking about, just to clarify for those of you who aren't 100% sure, the vortex being everything you've ever asked for or wished for is waiting in this vibrational escrow, this vortex. It's waiting for you to be a vibrational match for it. So once you have sort of gotten there, your grid is filling in, and now those things are coming into your world. So, or at least you're in a state where they can start to. I love how she said action isn't the most important part, alignment is, but it is really important in the right place. Taking action when you are in a state of inspired action versus required action, right? That's a huge difference. Everyone wants to be inspired instead of required, right? Wouldn't you like to be getting up each and every day and I'm inspired to make this painting versus I'm required to go do this, menial tasks that I really don't prefer as your workflow each day? That is waiting for you to happen. Maybe not as a painter, but whatever it is for you that's inspired. That's just waiting for you to get into alignment with that, right? And by loving the required action on the way there, that gets you, that's how you get through. That's how you break through. Because if you resist it, it's going to persist. Accepting the contrast, accepting this, just like the masters would do, that they wouldn't give up one miserable moment. Accepting those is huge. And it's so true. Like she said, it's all right. You're still standing here. You're still evaluating contrast. You didn't do something wrong. The contrast your experiences is right? You're in a really good place. The fact that you are listening to this broadcast says, and it's comprehending in you. And as I say things, as she said things, it's clicking, things are clicking in you. It's like, oh yes, it's like a vibrational hit. Oh yes, I feel that through. I'm not just hearing it, I'm feeling it in my soul. That is a really good sign. And there are many people who are not anywhere near that. And so what do they have in front of them? A lot more required action, right? And that's perfect for them too. You're at a point where you're ready to really start moving into inspired action. And that all starts by accepting where you are, accepting this this process, appreciating the variety. Stop condemning yourself. It is an absolute waste of time. It's based off of wrong thought. It's just based off of not understanding the nature of the situation in which you find yourself. And you are ready to appreciate all of it, every bit of it. Wrap your arms around it. Well, this has been quite the journey. As always, I love you all so, so much. I do have a track to leave you with. This is When I Fall by Elephant Revival. Hope you enjoy it. Till next time, journey well.
Love that is unbound, a veil that shields our eyes as the sun goes down. When I fall, Lord, let me fall. When I rise, see you standing there. Start where we find ourselves, in heartbreak, doubt, and pain. It is here within these walls we transcend